If you're an ambitious woman who has ever felt ready to move on in her career, whether it's moving up where you are, moving to another company, or even pivoting to a different industry, maybe you can relate to feeling excited and energized and getting ready with your resume and updating your LinkedIn profile, but some way in the process, you lose momentum. Why is that? What actually happens? Well, as a career and leadership coach who had a 10-year career as an executive in media and tech myself, but also who has been mentoring and leading and coaching women for my whole adult life, basically, I have seen a few things that come up over and over again. And I'm going to share the two most common, and I would say most powerful ones that I see all the time. The first one is that when we start applying for jobs and when we start reaching out to our network, what potentially happens in the process? We get ghosted. We don't hear anything back. We are told that someone's going to recommend us or refer us, and they actually don't. And it's very easy in that process to get mad at how things work, right? And this is something that throws us off, right? We are so mad, frustrated, annoyed, that we just like, I don't want to engage with this. I don't want to do this. I'm so sick of people saying that they're going to get back to me and they don't. And that actually stops us. We lose the momentum. And I want to say that there's nothing odd about this. Like, of course, it's annoying when someone is all excited. You know, maybe you're working with a recruiter who's like, we love your profile. We want you to move forward, and then hear nothing back. I'm not saying that that's okay behavior. And of course, it's annoying. But I tell my clients all the time that all annoyance and frustration and stress lives in the space of how things are and how we think that they should be. And when it comes to this area, how we think that they should be is actually out of our power. We can't actually do anything about how other people behave. Unfortunately, I wish we could, right? So the best favor we can do ourselves is to actually accept that this is how things are. Things take time. People change their minds. People don't do what they say. And to just know that that's normal. Okay, so that's the first one. Because what also happens as a consequence of the first one is that when these things happen, we start making up stories about what it means, right? So that's the second one. So that when we get rejected or we get ghosted or when someone is excited and then they lose excitement, our brain fills in the gaps and it says things to us like, it's because I'm not smart enough. It's because I'm not qualified. It's because they don't see me in a role like that. It's because other candidates are much better, smarter, more qualified, have gone to better schools, have better resumes, whatever that is. And this may be true, but a lot of the times it isn't, right? So it really comes down to those two things, is accepting and understanding how things work and knowing that a lot of the stories that we make up in our minds are not actually true. And both of these things together, but one without the other, are enough for us to actually start backpedaling. And what we do in order to protect ourselves is that we start saying things like, maybe I'm fine where I am, right? Because we don't want to expose ourselves to those negative things on the outside and the inside of our brain and our central nervous system and our heart, right? So we say, I'm going to stay where I am. Who needs more money anyway? Like, who's happy at work? Like, you know, I don't need to be fulfilled. Like maybe my colleagues are fine, right? And maybe they are, but I know, like we know when we're ready, right? So what can we do with this? One of the things that we can do is work with a coach. How does a coach help us in a situation like this? Is I think the easiest way that I can explain it is to help us stay grounded, right? Because in order to be successful in something that requires us to take one step after the other to achieve any type of goal, right? Going from place A to B requires a journey, and it looks like this, and it's, you know, up and downs. And working with a coach is an opportunity for you that when something happens, right, you stay grounded, and then something triggers you, right? What happens is that we get thrown off. And working with a coach helps us come back to center by asking things like, is that true, right? I'm not smart enough. Do we know that? Did we get feedback? Because part of what we do together is identifying patterns, right? If we see something happen over and over and over again, that's a pattern. That could mean something, and we get to figure out what that means. But when something happens just once or twice, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. So it's really to have that perspective and to really have that emotional distance to what's happening. Of course, also with having a career expert by your side to also help you know and hear and remind you, this is normal. This is normal. This is what recruiters do. This happens all the time, because then it becomes less personal. It's not about you, but about the nature of things. So if you can relate to anything that I'm sharing here today, if you can say like, that's me, that's what's going on, and that's what I'm struggling with, maybe working with a coach could be what you have been looking for. So if that sounds interesting, you can book a call with me. There's a link right here that you can schedule a call. What we do is we jump on a call for 30 minutes. You tell me where you are, what you want to achieve, and what's holding you back from making that happen. And if I think that I can help you with that, we'll talk about that and take it from there. Wishing you a great day. And you know what? If you are in a situation like this, and you do feel like you want to move on, but you're not sure if it's really necessary, I want to remind you that you know, and that you deserve to be in a place where you are excited and challenged, and that you feel like you are actually in a place in your work and in your career that you deserve.